parks there, and then takes the bus if he goes to a different campus. So for me, I live a little far from the bus stop, so it's about like a 10-minute walk to the bus stop, maybe 15 minutes sometimes. And then waiting for the bus can be like around 20 minutes, and then the actual bus ride is usually like 15 minutes. There's a lot to account for there. But from my experience, the buses haven't been too bad. They do get annoying, but the good thing is you have like this huge community of people. So if it's annoying to you, it's probably annoying to everybody else. So you guys can bond over that. But yeah, the buses aren't too terrible. Bus drivers are nice. It takes a little while to get used to the busing system. There's like a lot of different routes, very specific routes. So like there's one bus that goes from Bush to College Ave, from Bush to Cook Douglas, and stuff like that. So you kind of have to figure out which bus you want to take. The app we use is called Translock, and that kind of shows you like little Google Maps and like where the bus is. Or the Rutgers app kind of tells you the time of when it's going to be there. And yeah, do you guys have any questions right now about any busing or anything about Rutgers? Awesome. Obviously, at the end, I'll allow you to have like any questions. So yeah.
We have one question.
Oh yes.
Wait, so, like, I don't think the bus, like, they don't just drive to the other campuses?
You can if you want. The problem with that, I think, is you would need a parking pass. So like say you lived on one campus, and you had like on-campus housing. So I live on Cook Douglas. So if I have my car on there and I want to drive to my class on Bush, I'd have to have like a parking permit on Bush, and I believe it's like around 150 for a semester. So you'd have to have both of those permits. Which kind of sucks. Yeah. But if you live on like a house on College Ave though, and you have like a resident permit because you live there, then you could just get like a permit for a different campus, and then you don't have to worry about that. I don't really like for our dorms and like on campus apartments, we don't really have like a parking lot that's like you're just kind of given it because you live here. So yeah.
Are the parking prices different for commuters and people dorming?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's less for residents.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm getting my first like parking permit next semester. So,
Got it.
yeah.
How long is the commute time from Bergen Community College here to Rutgers or New Brunswick, Rutgers, or one of the campuses?
Right. So, from where I live in Garfield. That's around 50 minutes. From Bergen, it's probably like around an hour.
I think it's a little more.
Yeah, maybe a little
Hour
more.
and a half, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. So depending on where you live, where's Garfield? That's like South Bergen County.
I think it's southeast.
We
I'm
need
not
Chris.
really.
It's more
Kinda-
west. It's more west.
Okay. Yeah.
Southwest.
Well,
Yeah.
Garfield is
Yeah.
like 15 minutes from Bergen, so I mean, give or take. I'd say an hour is your safe bet. If you drive the limit.
Yeah. I think like about an hour you could account for.
I've heard some faster stories.
Mm-hmm.
I get your
Exactly.
Because I'm wondering if it's possible to
Yeah.
get from Rutgers from Fort Lee to Rutgers.
It's definitely possible. There's people commuting from Garfield that I know of, and I mean that's a daily
Yeah.
50-minute drive down and up. You can make it shorter when it's less traffic, but it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing you'd want it will be less money, I believe, if you commute. It's just some people don't really want to spend because it's if it's like an hour drive and then you go to class.
right?
I think it's a turnpike.
The term.
Yeah.
You could take any one of them. It's
But
down
yeah.
south, so.
So it's like an hour there, hour back. That's like 2 hours out of your day, kind of. And also, if you're there and you have a class in the morning and a class late at night, it kind of sucks because I've had schedules like that. That's my Tuesday schedule right now, actually. I have like a 10:20 and then like a 7:45 p.m. So like there's a bunch of time there. So I just go take the bus back to my dorm and like chill.
Yeah.
But it would kind of suck if you have to like drive an hour back. Yeah, you had a question? Does Rutgers have Wi-Fi? Yeah. It's like throughout all of the campus. In all of the academic buildings where you take your classes, there's Wi-Fi, and also Also in your residence building, there's also Wi-Fi. It's like pretty much everywhere, like across the whole thing. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. I believe they have a guest one and also one for students.
Does the school monitor your whereabouts with the school Wi-Fi?
Does they,
Do they try?
I don't know about that one. That's the IT department. I hope not. Use a VPN, guys. Yeah, you have something back?
Yeah, do you have to go to every campus, or you're depending on your classes or your field, you stick to just one campus?
Yeah, so it depends on your classes. Because I'm computer science, most of my classes are on Bush, since that's like the sciencey STEM campus, and also Livingston. There's a good amount of comp sci classes there. But obviously, you don't have to live on those campuses. I preferred to live on Cook Doug, so kind of did it to myself that I have to have a longer bus ride. But yeah, so when you're making your schedule, you can choose sort of which campus you want. But obviously, some courses the professors only teach on a certain campus. So typically for comp sci, it's only on Bush or Livingston. I've never had a comp sci class on my campus or on College Ave. So that's something you want to take into account is if you're like an environmental science, biological major, you're going to want to stay on Cook Douglas if you want to have a shorter commute. If you're more into STEM, you're going to want to be closer to Bush and that kind of thing. I don't have a picture of the map, but it looks like this. There's like a river in the middle. It's like if you look at New Jersey, it's like the middle of New Jersey where like the river kind of cuts into it. It's like a river, and there's like Bush here, Livingston here, College Ave here, and then Cook Doug here. So I have like the longest distance, but I wish I had a picture of that. In hindsight, yeah.
In a dorm, do you have to like share your bathroom?
That is a very good question. So, yes, last year for my freshman dorm, it was communal bathrooms. So that took some getting used to. Wear flip-flops in the shower because you never know what's what kind of bacteria is on there. And you know, it does kind of suck, but for the apartment that I'm living in now, it's just four of us in one room. We have our own kitchen, we have our own bathroom, we have our own living room area. It's really nice. But yeah, for freshman dorms, I'm pretty sure all the freshman dorms, it's all communal bathroom and communal kitchen. Yeah.
Surprised that there are kitchens actually.
Yeah, it is nice that they have kitchens because, you know, sometimes there are no kitchens. But Rutgers, I believe all the freshman dorms do have at least a kitchen. Yeah.
In terms of the kitchen amenities, what do they provide?
So for us in the apartment, on-campus apartment, we have a stove. We have a stove. We have an oven. We have like a countertop and like a pantry area. I believe that's and like a big fridge. For the freshman dorms, that's they also have a stove and an oven, like one big one for everybody, and like a kitchen sink. But in your own room, in your own separate room, you have like a little mini fridge and a microwave. But for the apartments, you're not given a microwave. So that's one thing. One of our guys had to bring a microwave. But it is different depending on the building. Some buildings do give a microwave, some don't. So you kind of just have to see like which apartment you want. And then on the website, it'll tell you like amenities, has like a map of the layout. One good thing about Rutgers is since it's so huge, their websites are really detailed. They have like a lot of information. So it's a lot of like, you know, independent research. Kind of look out and like see what you want. Yeah.
Is it possible to then like cook like while you're like living on campus, like just purely like just cook and like I guess like provide for yourself instead of having to buy lunch at Rutgers?
Yeah, a lot of people do that. One of my roommates, so in my apartment, it's me and two other guys that are sophomores, and the other guy's a senior. So the senior has no meal plan at all. He just makes everything on his own. He either makes it or he orders stuff or whatever, and he has a fridge, so he cuts down on costs that way. I personally don't trust myself enough to do that, so I have a meal plan. I have, I think, a 150 meal plan, and I still have 70-ish swipes left. So
That's per semester.
yeah, that's per semester. But you can cut it down to, I think, 75. That's what my roommate has, and he's chilling. He still has like 30 swipes left. So, you know, you kind of like ration it out. Freshmen have a minimum of 210. They're like forced to. But because you guys, if you were to transfer to Rutgers, you'd be a transfer student. You'd be like, I believe for transfer students, you can have like a lower meal plan since you're not a freshman. You're kind of older. You can like take care of yourself. Yeah.
When you use your meal plan, so does that mean like you don't get like one set of food, or can you just get like just use that one meal plan to eat however you want to eat in your sleep?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, we have dining halls on every campus, and basically the dining hall is kind of like a buffet. You swipe yourself in, and once you're in, if you want to stay there the whole day, you can stay there the whole day and eat as much as you want for one swipe. The only rule, the only rule is you can't take food out. But I mean, no one's looking. It's kind of like put it in like a takeout box. I haven't done that yet, but yeah. So there's dining halls, and they're usually like they have like stir fry. They usually have like one section that's for dinner. They have like a pizza thing. They have a vegetarian, vegan area. They have like snacks and fruit and stuff. It's like pretty much a buffet. But you can also use your meal swipes for other things like retail. So there's like something called Killer's Market on Livingston. So you can buy like soap and stuff like that. It's kind of basic. They don't have like a lot. It's not like a big supermarket, but you can use a meal swipe for that, which is nice. We have a Starbucks truck, which is really cool. They have it they like alternate campuses throughout the week. And you can literally just go and use your meal swipe and get yourself like a, I don't know, mocha frap, whatever you want. I'm trying to think what else. There are other like cafes and stuff.
Are you hungry?
So Are You Hungry? Yeah. Are You Hungry? Does that have? I think that's Are You Express. So Are You Express is separate from your meal plan. That's kind of almost like a credit card. You could think of it. I don't have it, but you can sort of load money onto it and use it. I don't see the difference between that and a credit card. So like, I don't really use it, but that is another option, and that's accepted by certain food eatery places. Just trying to find the word. So yeah, so that I believe your parents can also like load money onto your account if you want. So that's really nice if you want to use that. But yeah, and then I think that's about it for meal swipes. So yeah. So my experience at such a big school is it is a big school, so there's a lot of people. It can get very intimidating at first. When you first get there, from my experience when I first visited, I really liked it because I was like, wow, there's like so much opportunity, you know? But it is difficult sometimes to find your people. You just have to know where to look. Like I'm really into like my Catholic faith, and I really like to learn more about it. So there's the Catholic Student Association. I joined that, and there's more people like me that think the same way and that like are passionate about the same things, and we can bond over that, and it's really nice. You meet new people that way. And there's a lot of clubs. There's like Polish club. There's a bunch of different clubs for all different nationalities. There's the Pokemon club, obviously, and there's different clubs also based on your major. So there's some that are like for engineers. There's a bunch of comp sci clubs that I'm going to get into later that I'll show you. There's like the Hispanic Latino Association that some of my friends are part of the e-board for. It's really cool. So it is a big school, but you can find your people. And the good thing is it's like a really tight-knit community, and it feels like almost like you're at camp, but like in a town. It's like weird. It's like you're in a camp, but you're also like in a town. You're also at a university. I'm sure you guys have probably felt that coming to Bergen, that it's like a different like feel than high school. But literally anywhere you go, everybody's so nice. If you could ask like anybody on the street, just like, hey, I don't know how to get to this building. Can you help me out? They'd be like, yeah, of course. And then you kind of, obviously you ask like the question like, what's your major? Like what year are you? Those are like the typical like openers. But everybody's so nice and so open to talk because everybody wants to make friends, everybody's down to meet another person and connect and network. So that is one really good thing, that you can easily meet new people. So from my experience, the easiest way was sort of through other people. So like I knew people that went to Rutgers. I met their friends. That's how I met some people. Through clubs is another thing. And sometimes literally like I'll be in class and I'll be sitting next to somebody and the professor would just say the most whack thing ever. And we just look at each other like, what did she just say? And then like after class we'll just be like, hey, so like what's your name, blah blah blah, and just start talking, exchange like socials or whatever, and there you go, bam, new friend. So it's really easy to make friends, in my opinion, at Rutgers. But it can get intimidating. The class sizes are like, for my CS classes, they're like 100 to 200 people in one class. So when it comes, a lot of people, they skip class, they don't show up until exam time comes, and the whole auditorium's like filled, packed with people. So it does get intimidating in that regard. But so I don't know like how it is at Bergen. Like what are your typical class sizes?
It could be from 5 to.
It's like 30 is like the full ones.
Okay.
Probably like the honors courses are like 12 or so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So
It's a big step up.
yeah, I mean those. So those are like the big.
Yeah.
Those are like the big core classes for comp sci. Like Intro to Computer Science is like a major class because if you're a comp sci major, obviously you need to start with that. If you're minoring in comp sci, you need to take it. If you're just interested in comp sci, you're gonna take it. So there's like so many people that take that
Do you test
class.
out of class?
Yeah, I AP'd out of Intro to CS, so I didn't have to take it. And obviously, if you're here at Bergen, some of the courses you take can transfer, and you won't have to take them. But as you go up, the class sizes will get smaller because you're getting more focused. And for elective classes, from my experience, they've also been like 20 people-ish. It's not like that many. There are a lot of different elective classes. But from my experience, it hasn't really been huge class sizes. It's only for like the major classes that a lot of people take. You'll see like 200 people. And yeah, you guys have any questions about like how to navigate or like anything about Rutgers being a big school? Yeah.
So when I went to William Patterson,
Mhm.
I was new there because I was like a freshman. I asked like a bunch of people, like including my like RA, and like how to like go to certain classes because I don't want
Right.
to get penalized for something so stupid. They said to just use Google Maps, and like do you advise you to just using Google Maps to like locate like the classroom because like
Yeah.
it's so big. Will they like penalize you if you're late?
So it depends on the class. From my experience, like it does not matter if you get in class late. Like you just show up, kind of walk in, the professor won't even look at you, like they won't care. I have one professor that's really like, she has a stick up her because she like takes attendance. So she like really, if you come into class late, she'll give you the stink eye or she'll like say something about you being late, but she won't penalize you or anything. That's one thing. So she does like hand out attendance sheets at the end. You just kind of check out that you were here, so as long as you're there by the end of class. But that's the only class that we've taken attendance. Every other class, it doesn't matter if you're late. It doesn't matter if you show up. The only thing is like, obviously show up for like exams and quizzes and stuff. Some recitations take attendance because sometimes they give out worksheets or they like say important concepts that aren't in lecture. So for my data structures, I remember our recitation was taking attendance. So at the end, everybody would just sign. But again, it's at the end. So typically, if you just show up at whatever time, before you leave, just check your name and you're good. But oftentimes, like there'll be like a lot of people that come in late just because like you'll see that and you'll be like, oh, they were probably on the same bus because that bus was probably running late. From my experience, the buses have actually been like on time. They do take breaks sometimes, but they're not allowed to take breaks in between class periods. So all the class periods are at the same time for everybody. So it's like, I haven't had like an 8:30 or anything like that, so I don't know when the first class is. But from my experience, it's like 10:20 to 11:40 or 80 minutes, or 3 hours depending on your class. And then it's at like 12:10, and then it's at like 1 something or 2. And then at 3:50 and so on. So there's 30 minutes in between each class time, and the buses are not allowed to stop then. So I haven't had yet like a time where it's like I have a class and I immediately have a class on a different campus. From what I've heard, you usually get like either right on time or like a little late. So that's one thing that sucks about the buses is if you have classes right one after the other, it can be tough, especially if they're far away. So like Bush and Livingston, they're right next to each other. So the commute's a little less, so the bus ride isn't as long. But from where I live to all the way to like Bush or Livingston, that's like the farthest distance. It's like a 15-minute drive. Plus, if you don't catch the bus, like if your professor's like running a little late and you get out of class 5 minutes later and you see your bus from a distance go away, then it's like you're getting to class late. Unless you know. One thing about Rutgers is they do have scooters. They have little electronic scooters. Do you guys have them here in Bergen or no?
We don't.
That is like so useful. They're really useful at Rutgers.
How far is each campus from the campus?
It's a luxury.
It's they're not too far. I know that like walking I can get from my campus to College Ave in like a half hour. But those are like close to each other, and then there's like a highway that separates it, and then it's like Bush and Livingston. So Bush and Livingston are also kind of close. Some people walk. It takes like maybe 20-30 minutes. I've taken the scooter before. It's an app. It's called like a VO scooter, and I have like money on there, and it's like I think $1 to start it up, and then it's like
19 cents.
yeah, it's like around that, yeah. Certain amount of cents like per minute.
19 cents a minute.
Yeah, so it's not bad at all. I recommend if you're like really in a rush, but others have like they use like bikes, or they have like their own personal skateboards, or my roommate has his own scooter because he refuses to pay for the electronic scooters, so he has his own. And he uses that because all of his classes are on College Ave, which are just like a scooter commute away. So there's like a lot of different options based on what you want to do. If it's a really nice day and you want to make that long ass walk, then go ahead. Sorry for my language. I don't know.
You're all good.
But yeah, you kind of find your way around. It takes like the first 2 weeks to like a month maybe to really get used to the new school, and I feel like that's typical for any kind of school. But yeah, that's my experience. Rutgers is like a big school. I believe the next thing I'm gonna talk about, is transferring to Rutgers. So for you guys, there's a whole like transfer process. It's similar to applying to Rutgers, like as like a new student. For me, I don't really know too much about the transfer process since I was just a new student, but there is a nice flyer that I will show you. I think it's over here. Yeah. So I'll show you the flyer, but one thing is that I wanted to talk about is what do they look at? So when they look at your application, this is like this website right here is where I got this info from. These are different things that they take into account when they look at your application when you're transferring. So primary emphasis is based on your academic promise. So it's like the strength of your program, your grade trends. So like, how well are you doing in school, your cumulative GPA, how many credits have you done so far, and your English proficiency exam results if it's required. Sometimes it's not required. They also consider some qualitative factors, obviously, like any community service you have or volunteer service, where you've worked, special talents, and then obviously your essay to apply. And you've applied, right? You've applied to like Rutgers and stuff.
Yeah.
So Peter can also tell you like more about like the transfer process as well because he's applying. And then here's some like just general recommendations that you want to have like 24 plus college level academic credits completed by the time you enter. You want to have like a 3+ cumulative GPA, no recent grade declines, like just recently, like nothing like new. They want to see like you're doing okay, basically. That everything is kind of done. You're not having like anything in progress by the application due date. They want English Comp 1 either done or in progress by the time you apply. College prep curriculum completed in high school. I don't even know what that means. And the New Jersey community college students are advised to follow the curriculum for their major at njtransfer.org under transfer programs. So that's one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is njtransfer.org. You've probably seen it before, but yeah, you're gonna want to use that to see what classes transfer over. And you're also going to want to see like for your major, you're going to want to look at your major and the requirements for the major and see what classes need to be taken at Rutgers and what don't. Because they're really weird about it. Like sometimes they're stingy and like this class has to be taken at Rutgers or like a certain amount of classes have to be taken at Rutgers. And And others are like, yeah, just like if you took it at Bergen, like you're good to go. And obviously, if you're at Rutgers, you can come back to Bergen to take a class and then have it count. So like, I was thinking of doing that. I'm still not sure, but I might take like a calc course here at Rutgers and then transfer that over. I know some people do that. They've taken like Calc 1, Calc 2 here at Bergen over the summer and then transfer that to Rutgers because they kind of live far away. So that's obviously an option. You know, once you go to Rutgers, you can still transfer credits from Bergen. It's not like end game. Like once you're at Rutgers, it's over. But yeah, so there's the main page. I'm actually gonna get out of this and show you guys. So the main page for transfer students looks like this. This is information. This is basically everything you need to know. They have like how to apply, so like the whole application process, transfer credit evaluation, transferring from a community college. Here you can see njtransfer.org. So this is what it'll look like. And then you basically just input, you know, Bergen community and you input Rutgers. I'll let that load. And you kind of see what courses are transferred and what courses are transferred as elective credit. If it's transferred as elective credit, then you do get the credits, but the course doesn't count. So I forget which course that it counted like that for me. I believe it was like my teaching class that I took. It counted as elective credit. So I didn't actually have that course. It's like a similar course at Rutgers, but it didn't count. It just counted it like credits. So I still had like 3 credits or whatever it was. It just didn't count as the course. And then required credentials, financial aid. You could scroll through this if you guys want. Here you'll see NG transfer. So I believe I have like a better link here. Yeah. So this is like actually the link. So transfer from, you're gonna want to say Bergen Community College. Transfer to, you're gonna want to transfer to Rutgers. Oh gosh.
I guess just New Brunswick.
Well, that's not business school.
Oh, that's business.
There we go.
Arts and science?
Arts and science, yeah.
So
So
very specific.
it's very specific, yeah. There's like a whole, like this whole thing is just Rutgers. So, you know, these are all Newark. So if you're not going to Newark, don't look at that. These are Camden, business school, New Brunswick. So you have to see like, you have to know which school you're going to. Mason Gross is for the arts, like art majors and stuff. So if you click that, you can put in the course you want. So like if you know what the course ID is and you only want to look at that, you can input that. Or you can just do list all equivalencies. Don't worry about this, just search it. And then it'll show you like all the courses. Like literally all the courses offered at Bergen and what it equivalates to here at Rutgers. So for example, Introduction to Accounting is not transferable. So you wouldn't get any credits for that. This one, I believe, transfers as this course and you get 3 credits for it. Intermediate Accounting 1 is EC, which is just elective credit. So that wouldn't count as, you wouldn't get like intermediate accounting as, so like if you needed to take that kind of class, you wouldn't actually have that completed. You would have credits, so it's around like I think 120 credits to graduate. That's like 30 credits per semester. So you'd have the credits for that, but the actual course itself wouldn't count. So like you want to see, I believe it's 198.111. Yeah. So 198.111, that's the course code for Intro to CS. So at Bergen, it's transferable for object-oriented programming. So if you guys have taken this class, then it transfers as Intro to CS. Data structures as well, I believe is 112. So data structures and algorithms. If you've taken that at Bergen, which is MAT 277, if you've taken that, that transfers as data structures. So you're good. Stuff like that, and you can sort of peruse and see which courses transfer. Yeah, and then there's more links here for dates and deadlines. So this is the deadline for fall 2023 for transfer students. You want to get that in by I believe February 1st, 2023. There's also and the flyer. Sorry. So
All good.
the flyer here, I wanted to go through with you guys. This is basically what you guys want. So if you want to look at any of those links, I'm probably gonna like highlight it for you. This one right here has basically everything you need to know for transfer students. It has the application requirements. So where to apply, there's a $70 application fee, the
Well, I have-
transcripts you need.
A good tip on that.
Yeah.
All the application fees, I recommend you send an email to the admissions office, explain if you have hardship paying the fee, and like 9 times out of 10, you get an email back. Okay, here you go. Here's a fee waiver. So, great tip, honestly. Most of the time, you'll get it. Just have a solid reason.
Exactly,
Actually,
yeah.
I don't think you can do that because when I applied to William Patterson, they said that you need to send like some kind of like proof from
I see.
like, for example,
Mm.
like I did reduced lunch.
Okay.
So reduced lunch from your
Yeah.
high school council proof. Like you cannot just email them saying like, oh, I don't have the.
Yes,
You have to
and
send them.
the most cases to automatically be kind of for a fee waiver would be under some of those cases. But you could also email. The only turnoff is Common App. Common App, you have to kind of submit some stuff in order to get a fee waiver. But if you're doing a local application, Rutgers does it within the Rutgers website.
Yeah.
You could just type in a code and you could get it from them.
Yeah, Rutgers is within Rutgers. They don't use Common App. That's the one thing is when I was applying for colleges, everything was on Common App except for Rutgers.
Yeah.
I almost missed the deadline because the deadline was December 1st for me. I did it on December 1st. And here I am, which is crazy. Because if I missed it by a day, I wouldn't be here right now. But yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, is anyone familiar with the land bid law is? Land bid law. Peter, are you planning to go to Rutgers?
I applied.
Okay, so let's say you get accepted.
Wait,
Do you plan on graduating from Bergen?
Yeah.
All right, because Peter is going to graduate with his 2-year degree at Bergen Community College, any school in New Jersey, he's going to start as a junior. There's going to be some exceptions for some courses, but most colleges in New Jersey and most programs, he's going to start there as a junior. If you transfer to the college of your choice without the degree, they can pick and choose what credits they take, what credits are good. So you could transfer over maybe 10, 12 credits shy and say they're going to accept only 15 credits. Because the name of the game is money for them. So because of the law, if you graduate with your 2-year degree, any college in New Jersey except for certain situations, you're going to start as a junior.
They have to take 60 credits.
Yes.
They have to accept 60 of your credits. I don't know if they have to accept a certain, like, if you, your chances are you'll graduate out of Bergen with well over 60 credits.
Yeah.
So they may only take, certain ones that they want to see from you, and you have to take other courses. You may have to retake courses still. But yeah, you can transfer with a guaranteed 60 credits and entering your junior year.
Let's say, for example, I'm taking accounting courses under business administration. Are I gonna receive those?
If you graduate and you get accepted into their program for accounting, you're going to start as a junior.
Even though the document will say like business administration.
Yeah, they're going to accept it. They're going to work around it to say you're here to take junior level courses. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that was a really good point. Yeah, and one other thing is, what sucks for registering for courses, I have 59 credits. So like I came into Rutgers with 30 credits from my high school. Because APs, dual enrollment with Bergen, stuff like that. I came in with 30. I ended up taking 14 credits my freshman year. Since then, I've been taking 15 per semester. So I have 59, and the cutoff is like 60 credits to be considered like a junior. So for registration, they typically go up in increments of like 15. So registration is actually this week for us. So I'm registering tomorrow. But so they usually go from like if you have 15 credits, 30 credits, 45 credits, 60 credits, and so on. And those are based on day. So every day is a different day for based on how many credits you have. So today was the day for 60 credit people, and I couldn't register. So some of the courses that I might want to take might close out. And because of that, I can't take them, and I'll have to register tomorrow. There is a way around that called a special permission number. So that's either through the professor or the department, and you kind of have to apply for that. And if they give you a special permission number, even if it's closed, you can get in the course. So it's typically for stuff like, say you're a senior and you're graduating soon, and you need to take a certain course for comp sci to complete the major, but it's closed. Then you can get a special permission number because you need to take that course to graduate. And they'll be like, okay, no worries, come on in. Sometimes they won't give it to you. just because like, oh, say you got the course, but with a certain professor, and you don't want that professor, you want the other professor. Sometimes they won't give it to you just because like, you're in the course, they might see that. But it can't hurt to try. So for me, if I don't get into a course tomorrow, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to get a special permission number for one of the courses I want to take because I'm a little ahead since I AP'd out of CS, intro to CS, so like I'm a little ahead of all my classes. So that is a little tip for you guys that if you're a little under credits just because you didn't take like 15 a semester, that's typically like minimum 15 is kind of what you want. But I believe it's minimum 12 to be considered a full-time student.
Same as Bergen.
Yeah. But max, like, if you want to like absolutely hurt yourself, do like 19 credits. My roommate's doing that and he's in hell right now. So I wouldn't recommend that. Some people do go up to like 17, but I believe like 18, 19 credits is like you need permission from the dean to be able to take that amount of credits. This is a lot at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys probably have a similar system. But yeah, so this is like a perfect flyer for you guys. They have due dates right here. So as you can see for fall admission, February 1st, spring admission is October 1st. And a lot of other information that's really great for you guys. Evaluation, njtransfer.org, which we were just talking about. Recommendations, so I shared this with you guys. These are recommendations for each school. So School of Arts and Sciences, for example, they strongly recommend comp sci majors take a 4-credit calc course. And there's different recommendations for each school and stuff like that. So I will share this with you guys later. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for transferring credits. Let's see. So now let's get a little bit into Rutgers comp sci. So Rutgers CS specifically, according to U.S. News, they're ranked and tied with NYU for number 38 in best CS schools in the U.S. It's pretty good. That is like the main factor that I looked at for deciding between what school I wanted to go to. I was between NJIT and Rutgers. Rutgers was obviously more expensive because I would have to live there. But it was better ranking. Some of those courses are rough, I'm not gonna lie. But it is really, really good. All of the professors, at least for the CS department, they're all PhD professors. And they really care about what they're teaching. Even if they're kind of sucky professors, they're at least really smart. And yeah, so I looked at that for ranking. And they're seeing a surge in students interested in these tracks. So these are the main tracks for CS. There's computing concepts and themes, computer and software systems, computer security, software engineering and information management, graphics and vision, AI and cognitive science. So I'm going for software engineering and information management right now. So for me, certain classes I'd want to take is like software methodology, things around object-oriented programming in Java, and things like that. Those are really important concepts for software engineers. So you don't really have to declare necessarily what track you're going for. There's just kind of tracks, and there's courses that align with those tracks. So I'll show you guys that that they kind of recommend what courses to take for each track, and so that you're ready to go out into the world with that degree. There's around 28 elective courses for CS, which is a good amount of electives. And as a major in the arts and sciences, you'll have full access to a liberal arts education that spans 47 programs. You can study in depth in any field. And because you're in arts and sciences, there's like a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different electives that you can take. One elective I'm taking right now is called Native American Experience, and we're learning about we learned about like the history of Native Americans. Right now we're looking at Native Americans in film and basically the whole broad concept of like Native Americans, their struggles today, art we'll look at as well, their culture. It's pretty cool. So there's a lot of different electives you can take in arts and sciences, which is really a plus about being in the CS department. So this I wanted to get out and show you guys this website. cs.rutgers.edu is like prime, like you're gonna be looking at this website a lot. the one thing about Rutgers is because it's so huge, a lot of the information is online. I believe I said that already. And so sometimes you want to look at this stuff before you go to an advising appointment. So I've been to a professor before and sort of asked, like, oh, I'm curious about this path. I'm not really sure what to do with it. And prior to going to the appointment, I went to csrutgers.edu, and she just kind of literally went to this website and showed me like, oh, just go to like, major and blah, 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 and she'll just go to the website for you. So this has a lot of good information for you guys. If you go to cs.rutgers.edu, you'll see this is the main page. So since you would be an undergrad, you go to academics, undergraduate, and then here's like the whole menu. So one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the difference between BA and BS. BA is Bachelor of Arts and BS is Bachelor of Science. The requirements are a little different, and some people have, the common question is, well, is the BS worth it? It's a little more work to get the major, get the degree. Is it worth it? And in my opinion, not really. Most jobs will take you with a BA degree. If you want to go for the BS, go right ahead. You'll have more opportunities with it. So for BS, you'll take like physics and stuff like that instead of for BA, you don't have to. So for BA, you'll see that you need Intro to CS, you need data structures, you need Introduction to Discrete Structures 1, which is basically, I'm sure you guys know what data structures are, right? How many of you guys have taken data structures?
I don't know.
Okay.
Couple freshmen too.
We're in the same class.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, you will take data structures. So that's basically like more. It's what it sounds like. It's basically how to structure your data and different ways to organize that and use. They're basically be using Java for the whole thing. So Bergen probably offers it. Right? You guys offer it. Right. So for us, it's in Java, but it's the same concept. So that can transfer over. It doesn't really matter what language that is in because it's more of a concept than like how to work with the language.
We're barely doing any coding in our data structures class.
Yeah,
Very minimal.
It's all theory.
Right.
Yeah, it's all theory and concepts.
Yeah, we do have from my data structures class, we had 6 projects throughout the semester, 6 or 5, and each was based on like a different data structure. So we did code in Java, but most of what we were learning was based on like concept theory, stuff like that. Yeah.
Wait, I'm just confused because I don't know much about computer science. But
Yeah, sure.
Because I heard that if you take data structure, it goes with this other class called algorithms.
Mhm.
You're in like one semester, but and it's called the class is called algorithms and data structures.
Right.
But what is algorithms and what is data structures? Tell to someone who doesn't know anything about computers.
Yeah. So so data structures is kind of just how to structure your data, and a lot of it has to do with performance. So how fast it is and how much memory you're taking up. So if you've written a program before, like how many of you guys know the concept of a loop? Yeah, so a good amount of you. Basically, you're like looping through and you're doing like one instruction over and over again. So if you have, can I borrow a marker?
Yeah, see if that
So-
works. Otherwise, I got.
Yeah. So basically, you have like a loop, and it loops through like something. If you have like a nested loop, then it's like a loop within a loop, right? So every time you do this, you do it again. Yo. Dang, I don't have markers.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'll take blue. Yeah. So.
Right, there's a marker.
Okay.
There's an eraser down there.
Oh, thanks.
Have a dry erase if you want to use it.
I think this one should work. Oh, it's scented? Yo!
Yeah, give it a whiff.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
probably gonna get brain damage from that, right?
Yeah. My brain's already damaged enough.
Good. You're supposed to smell. Everybody knows.
Okay, yeah.
So it says,
Take a deep breath. Life is short.
what, you wanna make yourself die sooner?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not
Okay,
like
so
therapy.
basically the concept is like you have a loop and another loop. So you're doing like this line of code like for each time you loop through it, you're looping through it again. So say you do this like n times, and then for that you do another n times. So that's n times n. I'm like teaching. I was not planning on doing this.
We had a whole big O notation thing last week.
Yeah. So it's called big O notation. So you do this like n squared amount of times. That's a common concept in data structures because a lot of the times you want to pick what data structure you want to use in order to accomplish a certain task. And some of them are faster than others, depending on what you want to do. So for us, I believe, we do take computer algorithms, design and analysis of computer algorithms. I think you need to have taken certain courses as a prerequisite for that, though. Most people don't take it at the same time as data structures for us. You might be able to transfer it from Bergen. I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's kind of what computer algorithms gets into. It gets more into that thing, that big O notation. It gets more into like performance and how fast it should be. Whereas data structures is like it talks about it and that's part of it, but it's more focused on just like theory of like how to structure your data.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then you also have to take discrete structures 1 and discrete structures 2, which is discrete 1 is like proofs and like languages and grammar, I believe. And discrete 2 is what I'm taking right now. That's like probability, graph theory, set theory. Yeah.
I assume those are all discrete math.
Yeah. It's basically discrete math. Why it's called discrete structures is because it's sort of CS based. They are like math courses, but a lot of the practice problems we do center around CS. So they'll be like math problems, but they'll be like about like a binary string or something, So, but it's essentially kind of like discrete math. Yeah, there is if you're doing like the math minor, I'm pretty sure discrete 2 can be replaced with a different class called probability and something. Yeah, so this is the BA degree page. You'll see that these are the requirements for the major. It's the same amount for BA and BS. For these 6 courses are definitely required. And then you have to take also these 3 math courses, which is Calc 1, Calc 2, and Intro to Linear Algebra. And I'm pretty sure you could take those at Bergen and just transfer them.
Linear algebra does not transfer to Rutgers from Bergen.
It does not?
No, it does not.
Oh,
Definitive.
that's horrible.
Yeah, you cannot transfer linear algebra from Bergen to Rutgers. As far as I know, I heard someone that just did it, and they said that it didn't count. But you can do that for Stevens. Stevens will take linear algebra.
Really?
Yeah, something worth checking on the NJ transfer site just to double check and make sure. Because I know that if I was going to go to Rutgers, I might not take linear algebra. But if I'm going to Stevens, then I probably would, just because it does transfer.
Yeah, definitely look at that. I know Calc can transfer. Intro to Linear Algebra is kind of rough for me. I think it depends on the professor you have. Some professors are really good at teaching it, some not so much. So rate my professor is really your best friend.
Yeah.
Someone have a question? Oh no, sorry, I thought I saw a hand. And so that's the same for BA and BS, but for BA you only need 5 electives. For BS you need 7 electives. And for BS also, you'll need physics or chem. Yeah. So you'll need either 2 semesters of physics or 2 semesters of chem. I'm in physics 2 right now. So I'm taking that. And then with that, you also need a lab. I've heard mixed opinions. You could probably look on Reddit. The Rutgers Reddit is actually really, really beneficial. If you guys are going for Rutgers, look at the Rutgers Reddit. They have a lot of info there. But I've heard mixed opinions. It's honestly whatever you're more comfortable in, physics or chem. Both departments are kind of whatever. The physics courses aren't too bad from my experience. So this website is really goes in depth on these things. You could look at minors as well. So the CS minor and requirements for that. If you try some CS course and you're like, I don't know, this isn't really for me, maybe I'll minor in it, then you can minor in it and major in something else, of course. Of course, the schedule. This will show you like schedule of when a course is taught. Yeah. So you'll say the term and what the course is and when it's taught, how many credits it is. You can look at information for each course. So if you click on it, it'll give you a brief description about it. Skipping ahead a little bit, I'm just gonna skip around. These are like all the electives. So these are all the CS electives right here. Software methodology is one thing I'm gonna take. That is like number one most important for software engineering because you get into object-oriented programming and all the necessary concepts you need. But there's a lot of different stuff that you can choose from, and you can look around. Like I said, Rutgers Reddit tells you, like a lot of people talk about how hard or easy the course was. That's pretty much what I use to sort of figure out what courses I want to take on the side. And you can just look through and see kind of what interests you. And down here, so I'm minoring in math. So these courses right here, will count for both the math minor and the CS major. So like I'm gonna take, for example, linear optimization, that'll count both for math and CS. So that's really good.
Always look to see if you could kind of hit
Overlap.
2 birds in 1 stone and try to, go ahead in terms of that.
Yeah, that's really beneficial to look at that. Yeah, and all of this is like everything you want to look at. The program tracks is another thing I wanted to show you guys. So this is what I was talking about. So like I'm in software engineering. So it'll tell you, like if you're going for this kind of track, and it gives you a little brief description of what the track is about. So software engineering studies the principles, tools, techniques used in specifying, designing, and implementing modern application software, including ones for managing and processing information. So these are courses you're definitely going to want to take. So like software engineering, software methodologies here. This is databases, so SQL. That's what I'm taking this semester. This one, I can't remember what this one is actually, but yes, these are all the required courses. You could choose one from here, choose at least one from here. These are recommended. So you could just kind of like dance around and see which ones you kind of want to take for this track. And there's all these different tracks you could choose from for CS alone.
Do other majors also have tracks?
I'm not sure about that. I think CS definitely does since it's such a broad concept. But I think like engineering, you'll specify in like electrical engineering.
Oh, within the major itself. Got it.
Right. Yeah. So like you're in the school of engineering, and then you have like like I'm a like electrical engineering major, or I'm like a computer engineering major, stuff like that. So I don't think there's necessarily tracks per se. I think maybe there are like electives, and you sort of choose that based on that. Yeah. Yeah. And then these are like different organizations, so like different clubs and stuff. So like here's Are You Mad? This is what I'm a part of. These are like undergraduate quick links, which are all the different websites you'll use to sort of navigate your classes. So Degree Navigator, you'll look at like courses that you'll need for the major. You can sort of organize your schedule. Course Schedule Planner, these are all like really important things, and it's all right there for you. And yeah, that's pretty much it for cs.rutgers.edu. So this right here, oh yeah, and advising. This is like kind of the main hub you'll want to look at for CS at Rutgers. And for advising, click here for office hours. If you want to go to an advising appointment with a professor, they're basically just CS professors. They're not like CS advisors. They're just kind of professors. But you'll see here that they have specific times. Like Centeno is on Zoom, I believe, or WebEx. And you could just join their meetings at this time, and they're just open. And you can go to them and ask them whatever questions you want. So if you're a little unsure, like, hey, I'm kind of interested in like these courses, I don't really know what track I want, stuff like that, they can point you in the right direction and give you their input. And if you like them, you could ask them, hey, what courses do you teach? So like Professor Chang, I'm familiar with because I had her for data structures. So I would go to her hours, and I'd be like, listen, like I'm not sure, this especially, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do the math minor or not. So I kind of asked her about it, and it turns out that you have to take already you have to take Calc 1, 2, and Intro to Linear Algebra for CS. So there's not too many more math classes you have to take for the minor. So if you like math, go ahead and try it out. I was like, okay. And you could also ask different questions like, what is most important for what you want to do. If you're not really sure how to navigate the website, they'll walk you through it. things like that. So yeah, any questions up until now about Rutgers CS?
What about advising? I heard you had to do like mandatory advising each semester or each year. Chris was telling me something like that. You
Really?
have to check in with your advisor at least.
I think it's recommended.
Oh, it's recommended.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it's mandatory. Yeah.
But I guess a bit of a side thing.
Mhm.
Do they force you to use lockdown browser for some exams and some of the courses in Rutgers?
I mean, now that we're in person, all of our exams are pretty much in person. Lockdown browser, I used once before. I think that was for Intro to Linear Algebra when we had to do the exam online. It depends honestly on the course because sometimes they'll make the exam around the fact that they know since you're, doing it remotely, you can have your like notes up, so they'll make the exam harder, or they'll factor in that you can use your notes, and they'll just tell you, oh, it's open note. Some courses do force you to use lockdown browser. I know my roommate has had exams like that. So far though, for me, they've all just been in person. Like all of my exams have pretty much been in person. Yeah.
Do the campus computers like run lockdown browsers?
I believe so. Yeah. So if you don't have your own personal laptop, you can ask and see. Like I know there are computer labs in Rutgers. There's like one on every campus, at least one on every campus. So you can go and take your exam in the computer lab. Yeah. But yeah, advising is like recommended. From my experience, the SAS, like School of Arts and Sciences, advising is not so good. They just kind of tell you what you already know. I had like one really specific question, which honestly could have been emailed, but I went in person just anyway. But you can mostly email them for any questions you have. Anything else, you could just sort of look up and try to find on your own because they're not really that helpful. The CS advising is, I think, more helpful because it's specific to the department and their professors that sort of know more about it. And yeah, so a lot of it is like kind of on your own. You have to look through Rutgers websites.
Yes.
But for courses, you can see here, I have like a 4-year plan. This is the first year and the second year for these 2 semesters. So these are all classes that I've taken so far. I AP'd out of Intro to CS, so I just skipped ahead to data structures. So my freshman year, I took data structures. Oh, I also AP'd out of Calc 1 and Calc 2, yeah. So I went straight to Intro to Linear Algebra. But you can take Intro to Linear Algebra with Calc because they're different topics, so you don't have to, I believe you don't have to like have Calc as a prereq. And then I took psychology as an SAS elective, and dance improv was like a little seminar that was like a 1-credit seminar. That was really fun. So, and I also took cultural history of now, which is about like artificial intelligence, which is really weird because they call it cultural history of now. I don't know, but it was cool. Data structures is really important from what I've heard. Even if you don't do well in the class, it's most important that you understand the concepts. I've heard that so many times. So if you're sort of getting it by the end of the semester, you have your data structures down pat, but you got like a C, that's perfectly fine. If you get a C in the class, as long as you pass it, if you understand it well and you can apply your data structures, then that's like the number one thing. And some other courses like computer architecture, if you're into that and you want to learn more about that, then you might want to focus more on that class. But from what I've heard, computer architecture is just kind of required, not necessarily like important. And yeah, I'd recommend having something like this because this has really helped me. This I made just like on Google Sheets, and I've just had like a table, or was it even like it's probably Google Docs honestly, that I made this, and just sort of laying out the course code, the course name, and the credits. That way you could keep track, sort of what classes have I taken, what do I still need to take, so you can sort of start planning that out. This was kind of like a work in progress when I screenshotted this, so I'm still figuring this next semester out. And then these are classes that I'm interested in, that I want to take, and languages that I know so far. HTML I took in high school, so I have like some knowledge of that.
You did a web design?
I did, yeah, I did
Oh,
web
yeah?
design. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, so I did some HTML, CSS, Java. I did an intro to CS in high school, and also so far I think only data structures has been in Java. I've learned C in computer architecture because you get really down to like the bits. We also analyzed some assembly code as well, but we did not write any assembly because that would have been crazy.
We write assembly here.
You wrote assembly?
Well, I have an assembly and organization course, and at the end, our final project is an assembly.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he
Well-
mostly gives you it, and you fill in a couple lines, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
you don't get too heavy into it, obviously.
Yeah, we only had I think one project based on it,
Yeah,
and all we had to do was just analyze it. We
it's
didn't write
super
anything.
interesting, but it's
It
so
is.
nitty gritty.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. Thankfully, we didn't have to write any of it because that would have been really hard. And SQL, I just finished learning this semester in Principles of Information and Data Management, and now we're on to NoSQL, and that's sort of working with databases. You took SQL, I think, right?
Yeah, we're taking it right now.
Yeah. So you know a little bit about that. And right now in RUMAD, I'm learning Kotlin and a little bit of XML because XML works with that for making Android applications. Kotlin is sort of like Java, just like a simplified version. It's like if Python and Java had a baby almost. And it's mainly used for like Android apps and stuff like that. So that's my courses. And now I want to get into a little bit about extracurriculars, clubs, tutoring, stuff like that. So, first thing I wanted to talk about is Are You Mad? I have a little QR code here if you want to scan, and it gives like the club website. So this club specifically has two parts. It has the accelerator and incubator, and you can go in knowing no coding. So I'm in the accelerator right now, and you kind of follow along. I believe it's called like Android Basics in Kotlin, and it's literally like a website online that you follow in the club. I like it. You could do it on your own. I just like it that it's in the club because it sort of forces you to do it. So they give you like, oh, do these assignments at this time, sort of pace yourself, and you make really interesting projects. So the accelerator, you go from knowing nothing about app development to a level that you can make your own apps and sort of ship them out. And there's 3 tracks. You can choose either iOS, which you need a MacBook for, backend, which is Python and SQL, or Android, which is Kotlin and a little bit of XML, but it's mainly Kotlin. And you make like different apps, and then incubator is sort of like the next level, so that's in the spring, and you make projects based on what you've learned. So that's more sort of you get into like a group of people and you make different projects with them, and you have like a team, and you have a mentor that sort of overlooks what you're doing, and yeah, so those are the 2 programs. And then they also have alumni that often have graduated, have been in RUMAD, and they come back and sort of talk about their experiences. And they've had featured alumni from Facebook, Apple, Capital One, etc. And even if you're not in the club, you can go to these meetings. So this club, you do need to apply to get in because a lot of people want to do it since it's really cool. Like they help you make apps. So only a certain amount of people actually get accepted into some of the programs. But yeah, so anybody can go to their Alumni Speaks events and sort of listen to what they have to say. They've had a GitHub workshop where they sort of teach you how to work through GitHub.
So did we.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
One of our first meetings was a GitHub workshop.
Really?
Yeah, we did.
There you go.
It was the first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so we also had that too. We had that also like around the start of
So
the year, I
useful.
think.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure.
Should be taught as a class.
Yeah, because GitHub is like its own thing. So yeah, if you're interested in that. And then here are some apps that I've made so far.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So we started off really basic. This is like called Ghost Convo. This is like around like right before Halloween, I think. Obviously because like a little ghost, we made this in October. And it has a really basic layout. It was like buttons and a text view and a little image. And when you click on a button, it changes the text. That's basically it. It is really cool, yeah. So this right here says Gilbert Habersberger III, and that was when you click what's your name. And then I have my tablet actually.
I think you can connect it, yeah, USB-C.
Yeah. Or I could just show it to you guys. To be honest, I think that might just be easier
Sure.
because I don't know how it looks if I connect it.
You could try that. It's up to you.
You guys want me to try it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's try it. Let's try it. I'll see if it connects.
Let's hope it doesn't explode.
That would be really cool if I could show it to you on the screen.
Huh.
But maybe not.
Aw, man.
Wait, how about you try switching the HDMI?
Yeah, I think it's the same cable.
Yeah.
So never mind. Man.
That's fine. Yeah, I think it's because it's a tablet that I don't know if I can cast it. I might be able to cast it.
HDMI, you need an adapter.
Yeah, that's okay. You guys could probably see it since it's a tablet. So here you can see like this is what it looks like, and when I click it, it changes like the text. This kind of moves too because I didn't like constrain it, but it's like a really basic app, and it's really cool because once you install it and like download it onto like an Android device, then you have it. Like, you have this app. The next one that I made, this one I was really proud of because she picks like our mentor. She picked a different person each week to sort of present their homework. So for this one, I really went all out because I had to present it. And this one we had to. It was very similar to Ghost Convo. It's just you kind of make it your own. So what I did was I added like a background image, another image here, and if you guys are familiar with Akinator, he's a genie, right? Yeah. So it's a really funny backstory. We had like she was sort of teaching us how to use like an array and use it to get thing from the array and like randomize one of the elements of the array and then sort of make it like the name. So when I press this button, what it'll do is it'll change the name of what Akinator will eat for dinner. So it looks a little weird on the tablet since it was made for the phone, but so if I click this, it'll change the name of what he'll be eating for dinner. So right now he's eating spicy Thai curry for dinner tonight.
Nice. Did you have an animation on that? On the click?
Yeah, there's like a little animation for
Yeah.
for the button. Yeah.
Nice.
Did you make the animation or commission someone to do it?
No, that's just the one good thing about Android Studio is that's just kind of built in.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
like
nice.
yeah, that's like the Android UI.
that is so cool.
I know, right? Yeah. So that's one thing we made. We also made a tip calculator, which you can see here. So this is where we start learning how to take user input. So over here, you can type in the cost of service. So somebody give me like a cost for how much the dinner was.
60.
60? All right, bet. $60 was dinner. How amazing was the service? Either amazing, 20%, good, 18%, or okay, 15%.
Little middle.
Little middle? All right. We'll say it was good. And then you can either round up the tip or not, or just have the exact value. So for this, I'll do just the exact value and then calculate it. And then boom. Tip amount, $10.80. And then if you select round up tip, then the tip amount is $11.
Nice.
Yeah. And then this one was with the Android course. It was most of the work was done by them. I just kind of downloaded it and then worked with it. But this one is also really cool. It's like a dictionary. So what it'll do is you have all the letters of the alphabet. You pick a letter, say H, and you pick a letter, say like honey, and it'll go to your website, like your no internet, but it'll go to your like browser, and it'll Google search that name, that word,
Nice.
and it'll
Nice.
like find the definition.
Really cool.
Yeah, right. So, and then obviously you can add however many words you want. We just had like a couple for each letter. Yeah.
Was there some sort of process that needed to be done? Like, because you said some of these like are on iOS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there some kind of approval process that was required by Apple in order to allow the application to be in the App Store?
So
Or
For-
these local.
for these are local. Yeah. These are just like I'm not sure how it works for iOS and some in the Android track, but I know for Android, you can literally make it on Android Studio, connect if you have an Android phone or I have an Android tablet, connect it to your laptop, and then if you run it, when you run it, it'll install on your device. And then you gotta have like a little mini app. So it'll like show up on your home screen and everything. It's like a fully functioning app, which is really cool. So that's one thing. I'm not sure if iOS can allow that. There's probably another method of doing it.
Signed by the App Store if you want it on the App Store.
Yeah, it takes like
Like, or
weeks.
something.
Right, yeah. I mean, we don't have it on the App Store. It's just kind of like local. I'm not sure if you have local files on iOS. But obviously, not everyone has a device like that. So if you don't, we just use an emulator. So it's like built into Android Studio. I believe we use like the Google Pixel or something. And then that's what I screenshotted this with. So this is screenshotted on my laptop. And that's what it looks like. So when you play around with it, you just play around with it on your laptop. And if you're interested anymore, there's a link here to the course, and you can literally just do it on your own. You can, if you're interested in being an Android developer, the whole course is there, and you can just work on it on your own. Yeah, so that was Are You Mad? A couple other organizations is USACS, which is really like the umbrella of all the CS organizations, but not really. It's weird. I don't know if they're like if other organizations are under them or if they sort of partner with organizations often, but they're like the biggest. They sort of keep the Rutgers CS tech community thriving. They have different opportunities like hacker hours. So those are student-led workshops on topics not covered in CS classes, mentorship with upperclassmen, interest groups, research fairs, etc. They have hack night or hackathons. And then little community events like board game nights, bubble tea hangouts, and often collaborate with other clubs too.
Do they actually teach hacking?
I don't know if it's necessarily like hacking. I think it's just called like like hack, yeah. But what you do is you kind of make like your own projects.
Just talk about your job fair experience, how that went.
Oh, the career fair?
The career fair.
Yeah, so there was a career fair at Rutgers that was in September, and that was really interesting. From my experience, I don't think I really got too much out of it. The one thing I got out of it was speaking to other companies, but as a sophomore, I didn't really get too much out of it because they're looking for upperclassmen, like junior seniors, for internships and jobs. But I'm glad I went because you can still give your resume. You give your resume to a bunch of different companies. There's so many from all different majors that come, big tech companies. I believe Capital One was there. I don't think like Google or Facebook were there, but I remember Capital One was there, and other companies and other smaller companies too.
Capital One is huge
Yeah.
for software developers. In case anybody doesn't know, they have so many positions open. Most software developers that go to big tech go to Capital One nowadays, I think.
Yeah, so the line was humongous for Capital One at the career fair. I didn't even bother standing on it because I would have been there all day.
They pay great money for
Yeah.
internships and for regular work. They pay so much, like crazy amount.
Yeah, for sure. So from my experience, the career fair is definitely really important. I think you should go and sort of network with these companies and get a feel for what the job application process is like. Maybe you can land yourself an internship, who knows? If not, the best thing is you can network with people, you could get connections on LinkedIn if you want. And just getting used to talking with companies and getting used to interviews like that. They won't ask you any hardcore like tech interviews like, oh, here's like how do you make an array out of this? They won't ask you that. But they're basic interviews like about the company, and you can ask them questions and just getting used to that. And I believe there's one every semester. So there's one in the fall in September, and I believe there's also one in the spring. And they're for Rutgers students only. So once you go in, you sign your RUID. I can show you guys what an RUID looks like, actually. Looks like this. This is a Rutgers ID. So this is what you use to get into your housing, to swipe at the dining hall, stuff like that.
So basically a student ID?
Yeah. So USACS is like a pretty basic club. They have like general meetings. Some of the more in-depth clubs, like Ethitech, is really interesting. That's ethical technology. This is the QR code, I think, for their link tree. If you wanted to look at their like Instagram or Discord, they're short for ethical technology. So they talk about tech ethics and the social impact of data and using computer science for good, for social good. So here are some of the panels they have. This was, I believe, like September maybe, that they had a guest speaker called Dr. Michelle Ullman, and she talked about vague and unjust algorithmic systems that contribute to economic inequalities within our society, which is really interesting. So like how, yeah, I actually talked about that in my cultural history of now class. That was like talking about AI, and some algorithms are like, because the technology doesn't really have a bias, but sometimes there's like an implicit bias based on how it's created that it'll favor one group of people over another. So sort of talking about that and how to justify that. Here, CO2 emissions, simple analysis of CO2 emissions and oil gas lobbying data, visualizing findings in like a web piece. So these are all like kind of Zoom meetings that you can join and just listen to. And then another one is building an inclusive environment at Rutgers. So doing the best to cultivate one, hear about experiences from women studying in comp sci, stuff like that. And they have really interesting meetings. And you don't have to be like, like, oh, I'm an Ethitech club member. You don't have to commit to it per se. You could just show up to any of their meetings. Yeah.
This is a question. Is the tuition the same for everyone, or is it dependent on how many classes you take?
It does depend on what year you are because of certain grants you get. Like I believe the first, for some reason for me, this year I ended up getting a cheaper tuition, which I'm not sure why. I think I got the Scarlet Guarantee instead of something else, which I end up getting more money for. I know that the first 2 years is something called the Scarlet Guarantee, and your junior and senior year is a different type of grant that you get, which I believe might be less. It also depends on your financial aid. So it differs based on person, based on your tax and your income. But it is pretty much the same for everybody. Obviously, it also depends on where you live, because some apartments are more expensive than others. So you're gonna want to pick. Some people choose to live in a certain apartment, which is more inconvenient, but it's cheaper. So there's all of that to look at too. I believe the dorms are cheaper than the apartments because you're forced to go home for holidays, but for apartments, it's open like all year round. So you can come back into your apartment like during January, whereas dorms you're forced to go home. Stuff like that. So all those different factor of costs. Yeah, any other questions? Cool. So a couple more. The hackathons are really cool. I haven't been to one yet, but I'm planning on one because they're really cool. You just make projects with people, and you can get something really cool out of it. There's two that I know of. Hack Hers is based on like an all-female, femme, and non-binary hackathon. Men are welcome. It's not like female only. Like if you're a man, you can't come. But it is geared towards.
All female though.
It does, yeah, which is very misleading. But yeah, but they do allow. I think they want to center it towards women, sort of closing the gender gap in technology. But obviously, they allow people of all genders to participate, so that if you're passionate about the gender gap and you're a man, then you could still come to Hackers. But I believe they just wanted to make like a safe space for women, and it's free too. No coding experience necessary. It's beginner friendly and it's free. That's the biggest part. And HackRU is a 24-hour hackathon at Rutgers, and it's hosted like in Rutgers, and it's every semester, and it's for over a weekend. And I wanted to show you guys one of the projects of the winner for the social good track for HackRU this past spring. So this was really cool. In Rutgers, there's this funny thing. There's this one Instagram page called "Are You Missed Connections," and it's really cool. So like if you saw someone that you kind of thought was pretty or beautiful, right? And you want to be like, oh, but I didn't get her name. So you can submit that to "Are You Missed Connections" and be like, to the girl that was on the A bus this past like Friday in like a jean jacket going to wherever, and then it'll post it on their Instagram page. So these guys at HackRU were like, you know what? We're gonna make an app about that. So they literally took this concept of missed connections, and they used a map API for all the four. Oh, this is perfect. This is what the campus looks like. So this is Cook Doug. This is College Ave. This is the river. This is Bush, and this is Livingston. So I live like over here.
Oh my god.
So sometimes I need to take the bus on the highway, blah blah blah, to my class. So yeah, they made an app based on this, and then you can click on whichever campus, and you'll see here, like, oh, Livingston Student Center. We met Wednesday morning at the train station. You're a sophomore bio major, blah 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 blah, and you can send a chat. I don't believe this is like out on the App Store or anything, but it was the winning project, which is pretty cool. And here you can see, this is, you could like click an address to see like that specific location. You can submit a misconnection, stuff like that. So this was really cool. And if you guys want to look more into this, they talked about like what it does, how they built it, challenges, stuff like that, what they built it with. And they really go in depth into this. And you can look at other projects too, because this was the winner for the social good track, but there were also other tracks as well. Yes, that was the social good track, but there's also the education track, best solo hacks, so you do it on your own, the health track, best failure to launch, hacks that fail at the last minute. So they have a lot of different winners.
Really cool.
Yeah. And I believe there's one more. Yeah, okay. So the cave. This is really important. The cave is like a little tutoring session, little tutoring area, where there's like an assigned person that's they're called an iLab assistant. And you can come to the cave, and if you have any questions about your CS assignments, you can ask and they'll help you. So I didn't need to go to this until I took computer architecture, which is coding in C, because that was really difficult. Some of the projects we had to do, I could not figure it out. And you know, like if you've done CS projects, sometimes you're just sitting there and you can't figure it out. And sometimes you have a bug that you can't see that maybe someone else can.
7 hours.
So you can go to the cave, and they have computers, couches, chairs. They have a TV. You can see here they're playing Pokemon. Sometimes I've seen them play like GTA, stuff like that. It's just like a hangout area. And they have whiteboards. It's like a whole area for CS nerds basically. And sometimes clubs also have their meetings held there. So RU Madmite, USACs, Women in Computer Science, the Creation of Games Society, stuff like that. So the cave is just like a nice CS hangout spot on Bush. So that's really important if you guys want help with your classes. And if you're interested in other organizations, you could click on this link and it'll show you more clubs. And then as for learning centers and study groups, so this is us. These are my friends right here actually. I was gonna use a different picture, but they were like, no, you have to use that one picture that we were doing the study group because it's people actually studying. I was like, okay, fine. So this is us working on a calc problem, and yeah. So for study groups, I got sidetracked. They're really important if for some courses they offer study groups. Like I know for data structures they offer study groups, and they're led by a learning assistant. So you know it's like somebody that like knows their stuff and they're helping you through the course. And I did a study group for data structures, and that's why I did so well in the course, because if I did it on my own, I would have done well, I guess. But in a study group, you do practice problems, and they sort of get more in depth with the material, and they're not long. They're like maybe max an hour. Sometimes you end early, or sometimes like he runs through the practice problems he wants and then leaves open questions, stuff like that. So there's specific study groups for specific classes. Sometimes you could just go to learning centers. So there's specific times where peers just meet up and talk about a certain course and study together. So you could sign up for one of those timestamps. And the learning assistant program. So if you're interested in being a learning assistant, that's one thing you could sign up for too. So I'm interested in being one. I'm gonna be one probably next year in the fall. So you have to take like a pedagogy course, which is about teaching, on the side, and you basically just kind of run study groups and stuff like that. And you could do that for any course I think that you got, I think a minimum of a B in. So I did well in data structures, so I might be a LA for data structures. And you get paid. That's the other thing. You get paid for
How
doing
much?
it. I think it's like $1,500 for a semester. So it's not like too much, but it's like a good amount, you know, for just like kind of work on the side, like tutoring people. And
The big one at the end.
yeah, Lead Code. Have you guys heard of Lead Code?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a legal workshop.
Oh really? Yeah. So Lead Code is really important for practice problems for interviews for CS. They have a lot of interviews are based off of practice problems you'll find on Lead Code. So that you want to kind of do on your own time, maybe like once a week or so. I say that, but I don't do them. I should do them more often, especially like in the summer. If you have time, you should do them. Just to sort of like keep your mind fresh and working on these problem solving. And they're mostly like object oriented or using data structures, stuff like that. So that's a really good resource for landing internships and jobs. Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question, but you already answered it.
Okay. Nice. That's my job. All right. Cool. So that's like learning centers and stuff. And yeah, this is I think is the last thing. If you guys want to join these Discord servers, the left is Rutgers Comp Sci. So that has like everything. It has all the different CS courses. So sometimes we usually use like GroupMe between students to keep up with a class because the class is so huge. And in the Discord, you'll find like people like Rutgers students in Comp Sci, and there's a bunch of channels for each course, and they just have a lot of good information there. Even if you're not a Rutgers student, like Rutgers is huge, and the CS department is huge. Like in my elective courses, there's probably like out of a class of 30, like 5 other CS students besides myself. I guess there's like you'll find a lot of CS students at Rutgers, so it's a really good resource. This is just something that was recommended to me by an upperclassman. And it just has a good resources for internships and jobs and whatnot. So yeah, this will also be in the slides that I'll send to Peter. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions, these were the topics I talked about. And yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. I talked a lot. So.
Yeah, you did a great job, man. Fantastic.
Hmm?
Your voice alright?
I hope so.
You got
I'm gonna take a drink of water now. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for listening to me.
Of course, of course.
This was great.
Super helpful. Super helpful.
Of course.
Nice. I hope this wasn't intimidating, just running on the side.
Yeah. No. It was so funny because you started.